It is April 11th, 2015. And one more thing that I might add about Mike Middleton, and something that he said one time when he was picking me up, because sometimes he'd pick me up and take me to the airport that he worked at. Sometimes he drove me straight to Sandhurst, a military place. Other times he would drive me to the airport, and then from the airport where he worked, I was then getting picked up by a different government individual who would then drive me to Sandhurst. So it was always in hiding, or with, no one really knowing that I was there. I remember sitting on the passenger side of the seat with Mike a couple of times, but I had to keep my head down until we were out on the freeway a lot of times. And there were only a couple of times I was allowed to sit upright in the car. So one of the times that he was picking me up to take me somewhere, I think possibly to pick me up from his house because I was there with Carol, and then to take me maybe to someone who then was going to put me on a plane to go back to the United States. He said that he got the wrong one. He thought that I was, which is a little strange. One other time someone said that they got the wrong one, but it was a cop in the United States, and it was around the FBI. And I wasn't sure if they were saying that to my dad or about my dad. Like they got the wrong Bob, and they had to check which one they had with me there, or they got the wrong cameo. Because the one time when Mike was picking me up, he had said something, and then Carol said, made some kind of indication of, no, this isn't so-and-so or whatever. I said, oh, I got the wrong one. I'm not completely sure what it was about, to be honest. But what it sounded like to me is that it sounded like they thought that he assumed that I was a different person than who I was. That there was some other girl who looked just like me. And he had accidentally thought that Carol was with that girl. And I'm not sure if he possibly even called me by a different name. And then she said, no, it's not so-and-so. And I said, oh, got the wrong one. But anyway, there were just a few weird things like that were always going on. One time, the Middletons had flown out to the United States when I was maybe, I don't know, like somewhere between age 7 and age 9, possibly. And they went out, they were in Moses Lake, Washington, and a group of people drove out past this location called Wheeler Road. And it was out in the country. You go down Wheeler, and you could drive for a long ways, and then there was some kind of a waste plant. And it was either a waste plant or a water reservoir. And it was out in the middle of nowhere. And there was kind of like a pond. It looked like a pond. And then there were a few gates and some sort of a building there. And I just remember that there was a big blow up and a bunch of people talking about CIA stuff. And because they said CIA, I mean, they mentioned the CIA and so and said stuff about operatives. And there were guns out there. So, and the other strange thing about it is it looked like some of it was about, they were talking about fertility stuff. They were talking about eggs. And I remembered that because later we sometimes took our, we got pollywogs from there. Like, that would grow into tadpoles, that would grow into frogs. And I really liked anything that had anything to do with science. And so, when we'd go out and catch some pollywogs and then bring them into the house into a big green, we had this big green, it was like this size. It was a very large green Rubbermaid bowl, and it would be full of water, and then we'd have pollywogs in it. And I loved watching the pollywogs develop and grow into frogs, and like every day I would look at them and see if they had grown anything new. And basically it was just a little strange, because one of the situations that occurred out there at this place where you could get pollywogs is they were talking about eggs and sperm and CIA operations, that kind of thing. And so they were not just programming me, and this group was not just involved in torture and rape of me or exchanging government secrets, working for the government. And they were not just psychics, you know, people who were psychics themselves or who harassed other psychics or forced other psychics to work with them. They were always talking about fertility stuff. Like, I mean, I was constantly hearing about eggs and sperm. I mean, I was surrounded basically by individuals who were involved in the science fields that dealt specifically with embryos and fertility of some kind. And when it has to do with the government, when the government has actually been cloning, been doing human cloning and that kind of thing, I mean, now it makes sense. But back then I just thought that was normal. I thought, you know, all adults talked about eggs and sperm all the time. So the kidnappings of my babies is 100% government operation. I have never once, I don't see that there's any possible way. They've always told me there's no way you will ever fight us. You will never win, is what they've said to me over and over. No one will ever help you. You will never win because we are the government.